Hello, this is the marketing unit, Unit 4, and so let's proceed. Okay, the first definition here is marketing, and this comes from the AMA, the American Marketing Association, and the process of planning, executing, conception of pricing, promotion, distribution of ideas, goods, and services to create exchanges that satisfy individual and organizational objectives. Well, let's break this down a little bit. The first part of this definition, it says that it's the planning process, meaning it's a managerial process, the marketing is. And then we go into what the marketing mix, the definition of, we call those the 5 P's. Well, you can take a look. The first P here is pricing. We have to establish appropriate pricing for our products. And promotion, and this is what most people think of when they think of marketing, is advertising and selling. And those are important parts of marketing, but there's a whole lot more to getting this exchange to satisfy individual and organizational needs. So the first two, then you read further on this definition, the distribution of ideas, goods, and services. Well, that we call products, right, in our definition of the marketing mix. So, and then we create exchange. So, the distribution actually comes one of the P's, we call that place. And actually distribution's a more appropriate word, but it's not begin with P, so it's not as neat for students to learn. So, and then there's a 5th P that, because I'm a protege of Dr. Earl Meyer, that we call people, and that's no matter how important our plans, how well managers do on our plans, and planning this marketing process, it's the human resources or individuals that implement this that's really important. Well, then the next definition here is the marketing concept. If you take a look, this is much like the total quality management that we learned in our last unit on management. You can see that it's a total organizational effort, which means everybody from the CEO to the person sweeping up has to be working a central focus on satisfying customers at a profit. And if you remember from Unit 1, we talk about how profit is really a pretty good measure of how well we're satisfying customers. Those companies over the long run, there could be force or fraud in a very short term, but in the long run, those companies that satisfy the most customers will make the most profit. And then a marketer is the total market, is all the people with purchasing power and a need, that really should be in there too, and authority to buy. So is a market. So there may be people with needs, like in subcontinental Africa. Well, they may have needs, but since they don't have purchasing power, they're really not a market, and they have to have authority to buy. So then of all that market, we go down to a target market, and those are the specific people that our company will desire to make our offering for, our efforts to. So very difficult to satisfy everybody in the market, at least with the same product. That's why often multi-product companies like Procter & Gamble down in Cincinnati will have 7 or 8 different brands of toothpaste, because you can't satisfy everybody's needs with one brand of toothpaste. Some people are interested in fresher breath. Some people are interested in cavity fighting. Some people are interested in teeth whitening. So you will have a different brand for each of those needs, and target that market with that. So what we have is often we have needs that people have, and the utility is actually this want satisfying power, or the need fulfilling power of a good and service. And the first one, form and task, is usually done by operations or production. That was our last unit. And that's converting raw materials into goods and services. Well, marketing then actually provides the last three utility that people need. They need the product when they need it, providing that time utility. Place utility. This is putting the product where people want to purchase it. And ownership utility is actually allowing the transfer of the title of that product. Then there's 8 universal functions of marketing. Before an exchange can be made, all these 8 functions have to occur at least somewhere in a channel of distribution. Again, when we think about marketing, we think about the buying and selling, but transporting that product, getting the product to where consumers need that product is critical. And storing actually adds utility, adds value. We like to eat toast and have sandwiches and have bread all year long. Well, wheat only comes off the field in the fall, right? So if we didn't store that wheat, we wouldn't have, the bakers wouldn't have enough material to bake the bread all year long. So storing actually adds this utility or value as well. Standardization and grading actually makes the American marketing system and distribution system the envy of the world, because in many areas, many industries, we're very sophisticated standardization and grading. In the manufactured housing industry that I'm most familiar with, that's my background, I could call up Georgia Pacific in Oregon and say I need 3 containers sent on a train of number 2 or number 3 2x4s. We don't have to slow things down. Everybody in the lumber industry knows what a number 2 2x4 is. Where in other countries they may have to slow things down and have inspections. Financing. There has to be capital available to make the distribution work. And risk-taking. And no matter what business that you're in that's capitalized, there's risk-taking and risk that has to be managed. And then marketing information or marketing research through the distribution to the channels of distribution. We need to find out what the customer needs so that we can satisfy them better. So all those these universal functions of marketing need to occur before this exchange can be made. And here are again those 5 P's of marketing, or the marketing mix. This was, if you go back to the AMA, the American Marketing Association for Marketing, you can pick out the first 4, and I've added this 5th P of people. And so we're going to go through each of these marketing mix items one by one through this unit today. So the 5 P's again are product, price, promotion, place, and people, the marketing mix. Well, why is marketing different, fundamentally different than the other areas of business? Again, if you're organizing a company functionally, there are 3 main legs of any business. There's production or operation, somebody has to make the product. Marketing, somebody has to sell the product. Nothing happens until somebody sells something. and financing. Somebody has to raise the capital and count the beans. Slang for finance people are bean counters, right? So if you look at this definition, in operations and in finance, managers for competing firms can learn about the same standardized approaches. This is it's called benchmarking. In Dr. Deming's methods, he says you need to learn from the best and benchmark and find those approaches that work well, and they'll work well in each case. However, in marketing, you really have to get your competitive differentiation. You have to establish why customers will want to purchase your product from your company and do business with you. So marketing managers just can't learn about and adopt the same good marketing strategy being used by other firms. That will just lead to head-on competition and a downward spiral in prices and profit. So you really have to be good in marketing. In consumer behavior, there's a buying process, and often we study and do research to determine how consumers behave and how can we better satisfy them. Well, understanding the buying process, what the typical buyer will go through, can help us understand our consumer better. So often if you're going to be a major in marketing, you will take a course called Consumer Behavior, and it's a 16-week course. Or again, in a 4-year school, you'll take a 16-week course in consumer behavior, and you'll take another 16-week course in marketing management. But in Owens, as a 2-year program, we've actually put those two courses together. So we have one course that will study the research process, how to, because these fields are related, because so much marketing research is done to understand the consumer better. So buyer behavior is the actions that people take in buying and using goods and services. Well, the first step is there's a sense of stimuli. That's an academic term there. What it means is you become aware that there's a product out there. Marketers like to think that maybe you're influenced by some advertisement that came from our firm. Often it may not be. Maybe your neighbor just drove home with a brand new shiny red Buick, and that gets to thinking, well, man, that's a pretty nice car Harvey's got. I'd like to look at maybe getting a new car too. So a lot of different things can cause that, but we recognize a need, or recognize a problem that can be solved with a new purchase. Now, sometimes you recognize you're out of toilet paper, and that stops there. You put that on your grocery list, right? But in more involved things, products that we need to shop for, more like a new car, we'll go through the information search. Sometimes we'll use the internet and gather information. More and more people are gathering, maybe not purchasing the car online, but they're gathering information on pricing and the values, what cars are good, by reading information online. So we get some alternatives. Maybe we'll think about 2 or 3 different cars that we want to look at. Then we'll go out and purchase one of the products. And then we'll evaluate the outcome. We'll see, do we like the product? And of course, the auto dealers love the idea that you're satisfied with the car, and on your next purchase, we'll buy that same brand. And you'll engage in post-purchase behavior, meaning that you may be very satisfied with the product and tell your friends, and that's wonderful. Marketers like that. Other times you may be dissatisfied, or you go and maybe spend more money than you thought about spending, and you have this what they call cognitive dissonance, or a layman's term for cognitive dissonance would be buyer's remorse. So you're considering your product that you purchased, and we go through this buyer system. So at each step of the way here, the consumer can either be satisfied with our offering or dissatisfied with it. Well, businesses act different maybe than consumers. We think that businesses will act more rationally. We hope that's the case. Well, definitely they purchase in much greater volumes. In fact, there's more dollars spent in business-to-business buying, organizational buying, than there is in consumer buying. And then many fewer customers are industrial buyers. They tend to be geographically concentrated. In fact, if you took the manufactured housing for an example again, the manufacturers, if you drew a 60-mile radius of Elkhart, Indiana, you'd find all the manufacturers of mobile homes. When they first started out, Detroit was the geographical concentration for automobile manufacturing. Well, the reason for that was distribution, right? The Great Lakes, and you could move iron ore on these large ships. So that made a lot of sense too. So that generally and often in industries they will concentrate. Another feature of business-to-business buying is direct distribution. You may have a lot shorter distribution channel from manufacturer right to the purchaser. If like in Ball Metal, the machines have to be fabricated just for that factory, right? And there's several $100,000 machines that press these beer cans, so they tend to be very direct. The machine shop to Ball Metal. And again, you're professionally trained purchase agents and much more rational decision making, trying to get the lowest cost in the long run purchasing. When we define our markets, we need to segment them, and segmenting markets so that we can target specific markets that we want to sell to. And we can often will identify and separate markets based on these. These are 5 common. This is not an exhaustive list. There are many ways we could segment markets, maybe more than is listed here. But very common would be through statistics or demographics, through sex, education, income, gender, household size, and very easy to obtain. You can obtain these statistics, and sometimes you can combine these things. You could take the gender of and age together, and volume segmentation. If you could, one of the true fact studies have been done that the 14 to 24-year-old males are the heaviest users of fast food. Okay, so you've combined some of these demographics and come up with a market segment. The heaviest users of McDonald's and Taco Bell are males 14 to 24, and they're the heaviest users, so you could do volume segmentation. Geographic segmentation, there's urban versus rural, have different needs through different climates. They're not selling many parkas in Florida, but here in Ohio we definitely need winter coats. Psychology, psychographic, based on your lifestyle, and more marketing now can make that operational. There's a golf channel where if people are interested in the hobby of golf, all the things can be sold based on that. So the travel channel. So you can, based on your interest, you can segment those markets. And sometimes we will base the segmentation on what the product will do rather than on the customer characteristics. So in business buying, we can again categorize people into a buyer, which is a purchasing agent. This is the professionally trained buyer, and people that influence that buyer might be engineers or research and development people who will test the product. If it's government procurement, specification writers, the people that actually write the specs that will either include or exclude suppliers. The users, this would be the production line workers or their supervisors, especially in a Deming company. If you actually go on the line and let's say you're at the Whirlpool plant and making dishwashers, and perhaps you've got hoses from a couple different suppliers installing, well, some key information could be gathered on how to purchase products better. Would be right from the line that's installing them, that's using those products. So we could gather that. Gatekeepers or secretaries and receptionists, and as marketers we really want to get those people on our side because they can get us to the deciders, they can tell us who the influencers are, and so we really want to make sure all these people get their needs satisfied. And deciders are the people who have the power to select the and approve the supplier, those that sign the check. So those are important people. But everybody has to be satisfied in an organizational purchasing behavior. When we go through an organizational purchase process, they could be in a brand new task. This would be when Boeing Aircraft just are selling their new super airliner to Northwest Airlines. Well, that may take several years to get, and a lot of people involved in. It's a $500 million plane each. How many of you would like to have that commission checked, right? Well, that would be an example definitely of a new task. A straight rebuy, often this might be a situation where after the order market has been set, there's not even any people involved anymore. Like at your grocery store, when you put your box of Wheaties through the scanner, not only the $3.99 goes up on the cash register, but it marks the order. So if they have an ordering point of they want to carry 200 boxes of Wheaties and you're the 199th that went out, electronically it's sent to the warehouse to put another 200 boxes of Wheaties on the truck to come to the store. So that would be definitely a straight rebuy. It would be very difficult for another product to take the shelf space of Wheaties, right? That's a top brand. So in between there'd be a modified rebuy situation. This would be between a new task and a straight rebuy. Some review is done, but it's not as involved as a new task. Well, let's go into our first P here. It's product. This would be tangible or intangible attributes of a product, all the different things that are involved. A product is a blend of goods and services. Any good or services along with perceived attributes and benefits that create value for the customer. So this involves a lot, right? The image of the retail store. A piece of apparel purchased at Macy's is definitely worth more than is purchased at Walmart, right? And So the prestige of the retail store improves the actual value of the piece of clothing. Service after the sale, very important. If you're purchasing an appliance, not only is the refrigerator the physical good, but the removal of your old refrigerator, the installation of the new refrigerator, the hooking up the ice maker, making sure everything works, and providing that warranty, that's all important to that sale. Attachments, if you purchase a new camera, well, the tripod and the additional memory stick and the camera case, all those things improve the value. The image of the brand. Obviously, Ralph Lauren, the little polo, is worth more than an unbranded product. Instructions. Now, men kind of put those instructions off to the side until they find out they've got extra pieces when they're putting something together, right? Well, it does add value if there's clear instructions that assist in the use of the product. Packaging. Packaging can help protect the product, can lengthen the perishable goods use, and can actually act as a part of the brand of a product. A cylinder with a red and white cylinder with a gold medallion, well, that's Campbell's soup, right? Everybody understands what that package is. Color, warranty, all add value. Warranties actually can kind of reduce that cognitive dissonance. People feel that, well, it's money back guarantee, satisfaction guarantee to your money back. Well, if somebody is kind of thinking, well, geez, do I want to purchase this product? It's an expensive product. Well, if they know they can return it, they're more likely possibly to purchase it. Well, products, we can classify products, and the reason we would classify products is so that we can again make better marketing strategies and satisfy customers more. So there are three types of convenience products. There's convenience staples, which are things that we purchase on a regular basis, weekly basis. We don't give a lot of thought to them. Examples of convenience staples would be eggs and bread and ice cream, things that we purchase every week. And then there'd be convenience products that would be impulse convenience products. And these are products that we would not think about purchasing. Often these are on the front counter of the grocery store, where the convenience staples will be placed all around the grocery store in the back. The milk is always in the back of the store because everybody buys milk. They will, hopefully the store is hoping that you'll purchase some other items as you go back for the milk. Where the convenience impulse items, they will place in the like candy or these magazines, the National Enquirer. You're standing in line and you see the headline there, Sandra Bullock, impregnated by Martian. Well, wow, you start reading along that exciting news, and as the line moves, you didn't plan on buying the National Enquirer, but you put it in your groceries and purchased it because you got started reading the story. So those would be impulse items. Then the third type of convenience product would be a convenience emergency product. This is an item that would be purchased again without planning. you were driving down I-75 at 75 miles an hour, and boom, you have a flat tire. Well, you call your auto service, and they take you to the first exit, and they put your car on the jack. Do you care what brand of product or tire that you buy? Well, you might care what brand it is, but you're going to buy what they have. Do you care what it costs? You might like a lower cost, but again, it's an emergency, so you're going to pay what they purchase. So there's three types of convenience items: would be convenience staples, convenience impulse, and convenience emergency. The next type of product we can classify as a shopping product, and these are items that we will spend more time looking for. And there are two types of shopping projects. They're homogeneous. Homo is Latin for meaning singular, homogeneous. Consumers view these products as basically the same, and they'll buy the lowest price one. And then the second type of shopping product is heterogeneous shopping product. This means that they will compare based on suitability and style, and two people can actually view products differently. The same product, I've got an example of this. My mother and I was helping my mother buy a new refrigerator, and what was important to me was that the service was good, that they would unhook the old refrigerator that was working intermittently. It's not good to have a refrigerator work intermittently, and replace it with a new refrigerator. So I could have bought this over the phone. I viewed it was a 19 cubic foot frost-free refrigerator with ice maker. I wouldn't care if it was Whirlpool or a Hot Point or a KitchenAid. If it sell me the cheapest one. My mother, on the other hand, viewed it very, very much as a heterogeneous product. She saw that she wanted the milk in the door, and she wanted the meat. When she listened to the salesperson, she talked about the different features of the refrigerator. So, and she paid a little more for the refrigerator to get the features that she wanted for her product. A specialty product are generally seen to be a little more expensive, but it doesn't have to be. But we'll accept no other substitute. This might be a Mercedes-Benz. You want to purchase a Mercedes, you'll have to go to a Mercedes dealer, then there's not as many of those, right? So that's a more expensive product, and it's a brand that you'll accept no substitutes for. On my hand, I really like Breyers ice cream, and with French vanilla, with the crushed ice cream, with the crushed vanilla beans. Oh man, that's terrific ice cream, all natural. So I will look for Breyers ice cream as a specialty product. And then there's a fourth category as unsought products. And there's a couple kinds of unsought products. There are regularly unsought products. These are products that not necessarily not bought, but we don't seek them out. Life insurance would be a classic example of this. If a life insurance salesman stayed in their office and waited for a customer, they'd be pretty lonely. Another examples might be tombstones or cemetery plots. All those things are not necessarily unbought, but unsought. Then there's new unsought products. These are brand new products that we don't know about yet until somebody came out with the DVD player. We were happy with our VHS players. And then they came out with Blu-ray. And now they're getting rid of the discs altogether with the cloud. So at each innovation, while we don't know about things yet, until we learn about them. So that would be another unsought product, and we don't seek them out until there has to be a marketing effort to let us know why we need the change. In business classes, we can classify our products into installations, which would be a very expensive item, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars. And for you accounting people, we would actually schedule depreciation for an installation. And so large pieces of equipment. And then accessories would be those things that would work with the installations, and there'd be less cost, and they would be expensed out in that year. And raw materials and component parts go into the conversion process, into the manufacturing process. And then supplies, or maybe lubricants that will improve the use of the installation and extend its life. Professional services might be auditing services or legal services, many things that a business would buy. Well, branding is critical to consumer products, and they're not as important to business products. But we can brand a lot of things. They're identifying that distinguish our company's products from those of competitors. And we can brand a lot of things. Bananas are branded. Obviously, a Dole banana or a Chiquita banana is worth more than a banana that's not branded, right? Brand equity is the value of a consumer's brand or a company's brand. And Warren Buffett, one of America's leading investors, one of the things he really wants to do when he's investing is selecting a brand that is either the number one or number two brand in that category. That's why he owns Wrigley Gum, because can anybody even think of another brand of gum other than Wrigley and Wrigley Field and the baseball in Chicago? So branding is critical as far as how much value. And the reason that Warren Buffett says that he feels this goodwill or this value of companies' brands are undervalued on American balance sheets. Very difficult to value a brand. What's Budweiser or Coca-Cola? What's those brands worth? Billions of dollars, right? And we have different levels of brand loyalty. The first level, you might be able to recognize the product. The second level, you prefer a product. And then a third level, actually the product becomes a specialty product for you. You will not accept another brand. Well, product categories, almost all of them, will go through a product life cycle. And it may be quite extended, but I think everything does go through a product life cycle. The product is introduced, and the new product, the communication focus then is to inform consumers about our product. And a lot of money put into research and development and in the introduction cost and test marketing before that introduction. And even though we think it's going to really be successful, sometimes products fail there. And in fact, most products will actually fail and not get into the growth stage. And so if a product actually makes it into the growth stage and sales climb quickly, this is where profits are made. Often then new competitors will join the market, will say, me too. They didn't take all the risk of introducing the product, although there's sometimes quite an advantage to be the introducer, to be the first company Chrysler was the first one to come out with the minivan. Well, they almost everybody joined Chrysler. Ford had the Windstar, and GM had minivans, and now there's only two minivans left. The Chrysler's still in the market, the Town and Country, and the Honda minivan. Everybody else has gone with crossovers and SUVs. So as different things go through the stage. So right now, minivans will definitely be in the maturity stage or late maturity stage as these other new products, these crossovers, are being introduced, right? And then sales will fall or decline, and so these are the stages of the product life cycle. And our marketing strategies, our marketing mix strategies will have to be adjusted as our product goes through the product life cycle. Our pricing strategies, we can have a skimming strategy, which would be often used in electronics. We just talked about that, how a product will be priced very high. When the first DVD player came out, they were $1,000. Now you can buy a DVD player or a Blu-ray for $40-50, right? So it starts at a skimming, and then as it goes through the product life cycle, the price declines, it goes down significantly. Penetration pricing may be to set a very low price to begin with, and then as the price gains acceptance, you may want to withdraw the coupon, or the price will actually go up. So you want to set a very low price, and it discourages competitors from coming in, gets your brand name out there quickly. So you may send samples of the product with coupons in the mail, and you get people to try it, and then when you withdraw the coupon, the price actually will go up. So you can come in high or come in low, depending on the product and the strategy that you would like to adopt. And this is at the introduction stage of the product life cycle. This is not, again, an exhaustive list of pricing strategies, but these are some pricing strategies that marketers will adopt. A leader pricing strategy would actually be to price a product below the normal markup, and a loss leader would actually price the product at below cost. In other words, a marketer could charge you $1.99 for a gallon of milk, and it may cost them $2.50 as far as carrying costs and refrigeration costs and all their costs. They're actually going to pay you 51 cents to take their gallon of milk out of the store. Well, why would they do that? Well, because a couple reasons. Everybody buys milk. It's a convenient staple product, and so you may be attracted to come in for the $1.99 a gallon milk, and the grocer's hoping that you'll purchase other items while you're there. And another reason is it gives the halo effect. Wow, if they've got that good price on milk, everything else has to be at a really good price too. So it has this halo effect. Bundling, we would put products together instead of a single product. Sometimes it's just because the distribution cost is higher than the product itself. This is why you never see a single roll of toilet paper. You always have 8 or 12 rolls of toilet paper, because it costs more to get it on the shelves than the product is worth. Odd-even pricing. If you price the thing at $100, that's a high-quality product. $99, well, that's a bargain. So you use that thing. Prestige pricing, would be to have a higher price, and because it has quality and status, you're a prestige brand. So the heart of a prestige pricing would be perfume. Because often perfume is purchased as a gift, right? If you go to Walmart and purchase the very cheapest perfume that you can buy, you might be getting your mail at a different address, right? Men want to pay more for their perfume because they value their girlfriends and their wives. So the Giorgio and Joy and would be your highest priced perfumes are the best sellers. So in the case in prestige pricing, if you actually lowered the price of the perfume, your sales would go down. That's called an inverse price curve, which is kind of a rare thing. If you remember, we talked about how normally if you raise the price of a good, the sales volume goes down. And if you lower the price of the good, the sales volume rises. Well, and sometimes in this prestige pricing, like in perfume, if you lowered the price of your perfume, sales would actually go down because people wouldn't value it as much. Well, there's a couple different place or distribution strategies that we need to learn about. We have a distribution channels strategy, which would be a manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, and consumer. That would be a typical channel. But today's market is changing. When I was an undergraduate in the 70s, the manufacturer was the channel captain. If firms like Procter & Gamble and Johnson & Johnson, these multi-product companies, would talk to the wholesalers and retailers, the manufacturers would say jump, and the wholesalers and retailers would say how high. Well, today, this changed. These large retailers are your channel captain. In fact, wholesaling is getting less important because a lot of the retailers like Walmart and Target are doing a lot of the wholesaling function themselves. And so the distribution channel is getting shorter, and the retailer is really setting the price, the policies, and the marketing strategies. And then there's the physical distribution. This is the actual movement of the products and services. This includes transportation, inventory, handling and order processing, all the functions, all these things. This physical distribution has to occur if the retailer is involved in it. And doing it, the functions still have to occur. The channels are getting shorter. Well, when we're deciding on distribution strategies, we have to decide on what's the most appropriate level of coverage in our marketplace. Intensive distribution would be having your product anywhere people will be willing to sell it. This would be like candy bars and soda pop. You want your product everywhere. The more places it is, the more sales you would have. On the other end would be exclusive distribution. This would be an auto dealers are given a specific territory, and so if you're a Ford dealer, you won't have another Ford dealer in your territory that you would agreed with the manufacturer. Then selective distribution would be kind of an in-between process. This would be where like Ralph Lauren, there might be Macy's would carry that, and so would Dillard's. So there might be a couple of places that would give that special attention and have but not everyone that would want to carry Ralph Lauren products would carry them. So selective distribution is also is used a lot in the fashion industry. A couple different types of wholesalers. A merchant wholesaler does take possession and ownership. They take title and they do a lot more full services. Merchant wholesaling, again, has been reduced. There's fewer of those, but in specific industries like in perishable products, a lot of attention has to be given. So like produce, that if a carton of tomatoes is held up at the docks, well, you very quickly can ruin all your whole shipment. So a merchant wholesaler would take control of like perishable products and do a good job. Agent wholesalers act as the sales force. They do not take title or possession of the good. They actually are independent business people that will represent manufacturers. Well, retail strategy. Each retailer has to have their own strategy. So the manufacturers have their strategy, but a retailer has to decide their components, and these components are related to each other. One strategy, decisions in one of these areas will affect the other. So we have to define our target market. Who are our customers? So then we want to develop a product offering for that specific target market. We want to create an image and a promotional strategy. We want to match that to our product. We want to choose a location that's appropriate for our product. Some products that within, depending on how people view them, like a convenience impulse product, you need a very good location because nobody's going to see your product and purchase your product because they're going to purchase it on impulse. In fact, I can go to a regional mall and tell you the most expensive square footage of retail space, and that's the pretzel store, because nobody goes to the mall to purchase a pretzel. But as you walk by, you smell that pretzel, and you see them, and you see the kid slobbering the mustard over his shirt with the pretzel, and you say, God, I got to have a pretzel. So if the pretzel shop was in a corner someplace, it would really affect their sales. So setting a price would be important in some areas. Having different prices, good, better, and best, often is a pricing strategy that you would have. But again, related to the product, let's say that your eyewear, prescription glasses. Well, that's not an impulse product. Make an appointment to see the eye doctor. That location can be, in a leasehold someplace kind of off the beaten path, and so you can. All these things are related. What would depend on what the product is. I can remember a mismatch between a product and the promotional strategy. New York Carpet World. Very few people remember New York Carpet World now, but in the 70s, they would have commercials. They were very on the television, TV commercials all the time promoting, buy now, this week only, free carpet pad, free installation. Or the next week they'll have 50% off carpet. And the next week they'll have another thing. So every week they were having a promotion saying, buy now, we've got a really discounted, well, what image is that setting? Well, that's saying that the image you're projecting is we've got cheap carpet. Well, that's a kind of a mismatch for the product because do people want to put the cheap carpet in their house? No, that's their home. They want to put a higher quality product. They don't want to buy the cheapest product you could put in to your house for carpet. So you got all those strategies need to be set and coordinated. Well, now we're getting to what people can think of when they're thinking of marketing. It's promotion, right? And again, promotion is communicating our product and services and our company to consumers. And so promotion is informing, persuading, influencing, and reminding our consumers. So there's 4 main types of promotion. There's advertising, which is paid, and it's mass communication. We direct it at a large number of customers. And then publicity, again, it's kind of a mass purpose again, but it's non-paid. And that's done through news releases so trying to get publicity for your company, favorable publicity. Then personal selling is one-on-one communication. And then the sales promotions kind of fall into anything else that's not advertising, publicity, or personal selling that's trying to communicate our product, promote our products. So we need to mix these things. Often consumer products, we're going to spend more time with advertising and publicity. And with business products, we're going to do more personal selling, have sales reps, because it's very expensive. Sometimes it's as much as $400 or $500 per sales call. Well, if you're selling Boeing airplanes or selling things to retailers, then a personal selling effort is warranted, because you've got the expense of, why is it so expensive? Well, you have transportation and meals and having a sales rep, of course, salary and commissions, and everything involved in getting that one-on-one communication taking place. Promotional strategies, we can have a push strategy, which is using those sales reps to get the goods through to the consumer. And it's called pushing it. We're getting the products to the retailers and getting shelf space. A pull strategy would be actually building up a brand, getting consumers to demand that product, and often you need a balance of strategies. This is reminds me of another story of cookies, Famous Amos cookies. And Famous Amos was a cookie company that he started independent in California, and he wasn't having a lot of luck getting his products on the shelves, because Nabisco and Keebler were your 2 big cookie companies, and retailers needed another brand of chocolate chip cookie like they needed a third head. So he put that right in his advertising using the pull strategy. He says, if your grocer's not carrying Famous Amos cookies, find out why Famous Amos is so famous. We've got a better cookie. And enough people went to the grocery stores and their managers to say, hey, why aren't you carrying Famous Amos? That the grocers had to carry them. They weren't very happy about it, because the margins weren't near as good, because Keebler and Nabisco were paying, shelving and stocking fees and promotional dollars to put their products on the shelf. So the margins weren't very decent, so Famous Amos became such an irritant that Nabisco purchased them. So that's my dream someday, is to be such an irritant that somebody buys me out. Our last slide for this unit is people. This is the human resources that make the marketing mix work, right? In our marketing case you're going to do for this unit on McDonald's, they really have a people strategy they're implementing. The marketing mix is only as good as the people who implement it. So staffing and training good people is very important. In fact, some people make this their strategy and talk about their people. Best Buy, they have the Geek Squad. Come to Best Buy because we've got people that will show you how our product works. Well, people have a choice. You could go buy a big screen TV from Walmart and install it yourself, deliver it yourself, and have it, and I'm sure get a better price. Or you can buy that big screen TV from Best Buy. They deliver it, install it, hook it up. And when they leave, it's working. People will pay a premium for that to have the Geek Squad. When they leave, everything's working. So definitely I will. So not everything you want to buy is the cheapest. Sometimes you want a people strategy to add satisfaction. Thank you.